Okay, so my final question. Me and academics, we did a show recently, and we got into a whole argument of whether or not there's such thing as a bad record deal for new artists. Now, as you and I both know, when it comes to record labels, even some of the best labels out there, they will sign a bunch of artists, new artists, and the majority of them will lose 100% of the money you give them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that money can't be recouped. You
Right.
can't go to the guy that you just signed who sold 100 copies his first week and say, you owe me that 100,000 back. But out of those 10 artists that they signed, one of them will blow up and make tens of millions. And a lot of times will feel like they got a shitty deal and they want to change the terms. Like, for example, you're seeing that with Megan Thee Stallion right now. Like, she's beefing with her old record label and saying that the deal was shit and everything. But I'm sure that label signed a whole bunch of artists that they lost their shirts on. And they're trying to make that money back with Megan that blew up. Now, you are coming from an interesting perspective because you signed a publishing deal that kept you fucked up for a long time.
Yeah, actually, I actually signed that. They wouldn't let me sign my artist deal without signing the publishing deal. So I signed the publishing deal so I could sign as an artist. So yeah, my deal. And then from there, they brought me over to Epic Records and they got a bag out of Epic Records that I didn't get none of. And so, yeah, I would say, yeah, you can sign a bad publishing deal, a bad artist deal as a new artist, because I definitely signed one. I feel like today, the game is a little different for sure. But I got signed. I like to say I'm a part of the last LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony. Well, no, Carmelo went to college, but LeBron, he went straight from high school. Like, I got signed straight off of talent. Because it wasn't, back then it wasn't, you got to have a certain amount of followers on Instagram and YouTube views and shit like that. It was just straight talent. Now it's like, if you could be as talented as you want, if you don't have this, that, and this and that, they're going to go with little kickbox and with the TikTok songs and shit, or even if they do sign, you know what I'm saying, then they're going to tell you to make some TikTok songs, so the climate's a little different, but yeah, you definitely can, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, back in the day, Dre would sign someone who had a hot 16 that would rap in front of him and be like, boom. I remember this artist named Joe Beast. I mean, I remember Aftermath had a whole bunch of people on their label who never went anywhere just because Dre liked the way they rapped.
Just because
Yeah, he gave them unlimited studio time, but they ultimately couldn't come up with the hits. And all the money he spent on those artists are gone. Yeah, these days, a lot of times when people are signing, they already have songs that are getting millions of views.
They're taking less gamble, less risk. It's like, okay, you're already doing this, you already got this going. You know what I'm saying? It's like more of a sure bet, but.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel in retrospect that if you had shopped around more or if you had gotten a better lawyer or a better manager, you could have gotten a better deal? Because like you said yourself, you didn't really have a bargaining chip at that point. You were already viral on your own. So it's not like you had a lot of...
See, the problem was with my situation, because the Dream was on fire. He was like scorching hot when I was fucking with them. Like, so like, I'm literally like, I've watched this man make Fancy. I'm hearing demos of single ladies and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it just felt like this is the way. Tricky was on fire as well, because they worked together on a lot of things. So it just felt like this is just a sure fire way. And, me and my management at the time, it was just like, yeah, let's get in the door and then, we can renegotiate later. I really didn't have an understanding of publishing at the time, so I just wanted to just do my dream, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm seeing the dream, living the dream. So I wasn't signed to the Dream. I want to clear that up too. I was signed to Tricky, but Dream was always around. That was really the inspiration. He was the artist. He was the artist that was pulling up, with the chains on and shit. And, so yeah, I just wanted to be like that. I wanted to follow. It just seemed like that was the path, so you kind of get lost in the lights and the glitz. And when you're young, you're not thinking about that shit, you know, like you're just, you know, even Hit Boy talked about it in interviews and shit, how he signed a fucked up deal when he was young, and he's still in to this day, you know, like, so yeah, you know, when you're young, you're just thinking about just getting in, you know, and that's when they take advantage of you. They flash your dream in your face, and you know, you're just like, oh, this is it. Especially if you don't have a lot of connections. I didn't have any connections. When they dropped me, I was working. You know what I'm saying? Like I was working jobs, so I didn't have nowhere else to go. You know, so young artists
Yeah.
out there, man, watch yourself, man. Be mindful. Check your options. Weigh your options. You got options.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough position to be in. I mean, people are always saying, hey, Vlad, why don't you start your own label? You know all these artists, you got all these connections. And it's like, man, that's too risky of a business for me. Like, you know, on the YouTube side, I have a better degree of predicting the outcome of my projects. When it comes to having a label and signing a brand new artist and getting that artist from zero to superstar is a treacherous route.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, like Vlad TV used to be at SRC Records and Universal, and I got to see firsthand, you know, artists like Akon and Melanie Fiona and so forth kind of work their way up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And I also saw a lot of other artists that I don't name that were signed and had budgets that, you know, literally that money was thrown away and it was never going to be, you know, brought back. So it's just such a inherently tough business to be in, and to have someone that has the foresight, like a Dr. Dre, to see this artist and say, oh, this guy's going to be a star. This girl's going to be an icon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wrong a lot of times anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's like scratching lottery tickets.
Almost. In fact, I used to always say that as a business, you'll probably make more money with scratch off lottery tickets than signing new artists. Right?
I feel that way about writing songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Entertainment. It's tough, man. It's a tough business to be in. You know, but congratulations for staying in it as long as you have.
Thank you.
And actually having quite a bit of success as a writer, and, you know, still working on your craft as an artist. I really got to listen to a lot of your music, you know, as I'm gearing up for this interview, man. And I could definitely hear the talent.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I could definitely hear, you know, the fingerprints of what you're doing in other people's projects as well, hearing it in your own music. And ultimately, man, like, as someone that's been in the music industry now for 20 years, exactly 20 years, come to think about it, what I've seen is that in music, everyone gets their turn if they stick around long enough. You know what I mean? It may not come year 1, year 2, year 5, year 10 even.
Quincy was 50 when he made Thriller.
That's what I'm saying. Quincy Jones, 50 years old when he made the biggest album of all time. Mm-hmm. You know, and you see it, and as long as you keep pushing and keep putting out honest projects, and you've already, you know, tasted the superstardom on your writing side, and I feel that eventually you will get that same taste on the artist side as well.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
You doing your thing
Quentin
too,
Miller.
man. You a big fan. Been watching your shit for the longest, man. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Thank you. And I appreciate when I did kind of bring up in the last interview, like the whole, you know, the whole Meek Mill thing, which obviously you were not ready for. You handled that very gracefully and very professionally. You could have stormed out of the room and said, fuck this interview,
No, for sure.
you know, and so forth. But you actually, you know, hit that shit straight on, admitted to it, took responsibility for what happened. And ultimately people knew what the real side of the story was. You know?
Man. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it,
man. Wish you all the best. Until next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.